Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hello.
Gosh, it's 38 degrees. It's gonna be like green or something. It's gonna be 45.
Morning. Are we talking about temperature outside?
Depends on where you're from.
It's 80. It was 80 yesterday, and it's going to be like 86 today. So, oh,
Yeah, it's
Well, I'm
it's
in Southwest Michigan, and for day after Christmas, 41 degrees feels like a heat wave. So
I was going to say that's pretty warm.
I'm in
I'm from.
Washington State. It's still cold here.
I bet.
it's 10 degrees here. So it's cold.
Cold like 40s. So
I'm good down to 25. Once it gets below 25 degrees, then I say it's cold. Anything above that, I'm okay with.
Derek, are you really in Boston?
North of Boston, so yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
You
Are you
can
getting ice today?
hear the geography in his voice.
Yeah, no ice. We got a little snow earlier this week, which was nice. That got the nice white Christmas.
Cool.
We were in New York City last weekend. It was pretty decent weather. A little bit chilly and windy, but no snow, no really cold. So it was good. I'm glad it wasn't 10 degrees.
Yes, yeah, it's cold.
How's everybody doing? Everyone get fat and happy for the holidays and
Absolutely.
I did.
yeah,
I guess.
I did.
I sure as shit did. We had ribeyes for Christmas. I'm
Nice.
so sick of the normal holiday. The holiday meat game is so weak. I mean, turkey and ham. Like, let's do steak.
That's what
Let's
we did too.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Big time.
normally we do turkey. This year we did a prime rib roast, so yeah, way better than turkey.
Yeah.
That's exactly us.
Right on. So let's Noah, if you want to fire out these form checks and then we can get into the Q&A.
All right, give me a moment here. Oops.
What's going on? Oh, my bad.
Oh, she found said they.
All right, here we are. Everybody's viewing it. Good. All right.
Yep.
It's a very tight, proper setup. This is good. The only thing is the first couple of reps you're kind of leaning back and kind of really finishing with the back. I want you to keep everything the same, but as you come up, I want you to slam your hips forward. Don't think about finishing with an extension. Think about and you got to really squeeze your butt hard. It has to be when you're first learning, it's a big thing you got to do consciously. So you squeeze your butt to bring your hips through that bar and try to break the bar in half. And that's generating power at a lighter weight and some speed. So we have that reflex when it gets heavy. But otherwise, this is very good, man. Good job. Next. Squat looks great. some slight forward motion down at the bottom, but that's more so of a consciously keeping your weight towards the middle of your foot and your heels. But there's not much I really want to change at this point because it does look good. As you get heavier, I want to see what comes out of it. So yeah, just keep running with what you got, man. These look good. Next. These are conventional deadlifts. Um, if so, either way, RDLs, stiff leg deadlifts, conventional deadlifts, no rack ever. Why? Because we never pick a deadlift up off the floor when we're going for 100 maxes within rep work. Never a rack. If it's a conventional deadlift, your position is pretty good. As you come up off the floor, you say your knees kick back, and you're still hinging by the time your legs are straight. So what we could do is really drop your butt slightly. It should bring your legs a little bit forward, so we get a little bit more leg drive out of it. We can play with that a little bit. If it's an SDL and RDL, it's not. But the overall form, the hinge pattern in and of itself looks pretty good. If you just notice, right, his leg drive's done and he's still in like a bent over position. So that means our timing's off. So uh for him specifically, he'd have to drop his butt slightly, and that should give him a little bit more leverage and get his hinge pattern working in conjunction with his leg drive. Otherwise, his form looks pretty good when it comes to a deadlift. I just never out of a rack, ever. Next. And for what it's worth, anyone, if you're new to any sort of deadlift and its variations, help me out and put SDL, RDL, or just deadlift. So then I know exactly what we're going for. So I can meet you where you're at. So these are cat cows. Very mobile. Very mobile thoracic. Keeps freezing. Ugh. You're good. So when I give you the cue, push your tailbone to the ceiling, that's this right there. If you look at his hips and his butt, he's rotating that tailbone up towards the ceiling and he's driving his towards the floor. So that's what those cues mean in application. And a cat cow is just an exaggerated form because we don't want to deadlift in hyperextension. We want to deadlift in neutral. But what this is doing is it's building an exaggerated way to physically feel the differences of back and hip position. So that's all a cat cow cue is supposed to do, is to give you physical feedback in an environment where you know you're not under load and you can really focus on it. And he's doing these very well. These are exaggerated. These are good. He's got great thoracic mobility. So good job. Next. All right, let's see how it applies. I believe, is this the gentleman that? So there we saw a much more neutral, no, what is going on with the connection today, man? It's fighting us. I can't see.
It's not going for you again?
I can see, but the camera is slowly turning to the left, so I get like the first rep. So
Oh,
there's
got
a
it.
slight flexion, but this is looking much better. You can see the intention. And as long as we have the intention, we can build from that because it's just going to take time and reps. So, Soma, you're doing great. We can get a little bit more tailbone towards the ceiling to get that lumbar out of complete flexion on these lighter reps because it's not a strength issue. We just need to get you used to getting into that position because as soon as you pull your hips, try to cheat under. I need you to fight that and really exaggerated on the lighter reps like you were in the cat cow position. You've got the right intention. We're moving
That's
in the
me
right
right
direction.
there.
Oh,
So let's keep working on that, man. These are doing good. Really push your butt back over your heels when you do the hyper extension, not the flexion. And hold, brace and hold and deadlift. Next. From this angle, these look pretty good. Could probably bring your feet a little bit closer together. But you're rowing towards your belly button. Um, as I've always said, there's degrees of bent over rows. And I've got no issue with this one. I can't see it from the side, but everything from the front looks sound. Next. All right, Andres.
Here we go. I don't know if you can see my cat cow attempt there.
So your hips were a little bit low on the starting point, which caused you to kick up slightly.
Okay.
So you're inputting for cat cow, but you're really what it's actually happening is you're kind of just raising and dropping your hips versus
Mhm.
accelerating any sort of pelvic tilt.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do next week is submit a video of doing just the cat cow.
Okay, on the floor.
Yeah, just like Soma did.
Okay.
And because I want to see what that looks like without any weight on the bar, deadlift position, anything, and see if
Mhm.
we have the right things moving. And then we can apply that to your deadlift. So it's
Yeah.
just your position's
Hi,
not,
Mama.
I don't hate it. It's
Okay.
it's it's
What is
okay.
that?
It's you don't have any catch mute yourself. You don't have any um crazy flexion happening, but
Yeah.
I assume this is probably a little bit of a lighter weight for you because it's moving very fast.
It's 225. Yeah, I've been getting better. Yeah.
And if we're struggling to get it to click with the cat cow
Checking on our.
by itself, what we're
Mhm.
gonna do is we're gonna elevate your deadlift because it's easier to get into position and then work that cat cow and you getting into position and work it down in elevation till you're back down to the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, that's usually like my that that's the surefire way to improve on that. Just
Yeah,
because
when I stand up, cat cow feels pretty weird. On the floor, I think it looks good, but I'll send you the video next week.
yeah, I want to see it so we can see what's going on. And something to even do is put the bar in the rack at different
Mhm.
heights and
Yeah.
act like you're going to deadlift and do the cat cow and work your way down.
Okay.
Record it from the side, and then you have physical feedback.
All right.
You're not
Gotcha.
really lifting, you're just working on that setup and position.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Next. Bring that barn close. Okay. Um, these are pretty good. This is a very strict row. With it being that strict, I'd like to see a little bit more neutral of a spine in the lumbar. Um, so pushing that belly button to the floor. Um, and sometimes this is an easy thing to think to with rows as you pull, you naturally want to curl your torso in to get more. It's like trying to get more range of motion. I'd rather you keep that belly button out, that chest proud, and really just row right into the belly button without that flexion. Because it'll make you stronger deadlifts, it'll make you stronger rows, and it's just another opportunity to ingrain that position. But these aren't bad. These are very strict, like almost like a Penley row. These are good. Next.
Great. Thanks, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any questions on that?
No, that was my main issue is whether I was curious whether I had my back too rounded. So you kind of confirmed that for me. So
and I'm
yep.
being a little picky. It's not
Yep.
too rounded. It's a little bit rounded.
Okay.
But with the rate you're moving that weight, it's not, oh, the weight's too heavy, you need to drop weight and then flatten your back. You should, when it comes to lighter weight and rep work, especially like if we're doing sets where we're, say 12 is like high effort, and our form starts to deteriorate and we grind for 10, 11, 12. Those first like 1 to 10 should be beautiful.
Yep. Okay. Great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. She's got plates for the heel elevation. Get down on the box. There we go. I don't dislike the foot width. The knees aren't folding. He could probably go slightly narrower if it was comfortable, but I don't dislike this. It looks good. Looks like he favors, if you notice at the top, his hips favor, I guess it'd be my left looking at it, maybe his right, depending on which way he's got his phone pointed. It's either mirrored or it's not. But if you look, he's favoring this side with his hips. But as soon as he drops into it, they straighten and then they kick back on the drive, which hip shift is not abnormal in a squat. I have it too. My pelvis is twisted though. Next. I want to move the box a little bit closer. So when we have the box, we want it at a depth where we're hitting it. So because that's our physical marker. You're getting a lot of reach, which generates a lot of torsion on the knees. So we're almost a little bit too far back because we're reaching for that box. I want to see you keep that chest really kind of, so keeping the chest proud. He does a fairly good job of it because his spine maintains pretty much neutral until now he's starting to get tired. You see that flexion in the bottom, in the lower back. So what I want you to do is the entire time you're descending is I want you to drive your back into the bar the entire time. And as we get down to the bottom, we're going to really fire back even harder to come up out of the hole. So we're trying to combat this folding because if we can combat some of this folding, I think it's going to make your life a little bit easier on these squats and hitting depth. Um, yeah, I think that's the main thing we need to kind of focus on here because you're reaching. See how he goes down and then there's bit he kind of sits back, um, which inherently is the opposite of most of the time people drift forward. So yeah, let's get you a little bit more. Maybe a lower bar squat might be a little bit easier for you. We can play with this. Um, it'll give you a lower bar squat mitigates, depending on your torso and hip mobility, a lower bar squat will mitigate some of that leverage the bar has at a higher. I have a long torso and short legs, so I've got good femur leverage, but I've got bad torso leverage for things like squat and deadlift. So on a squat, I do a low bar squat. So when it's on my back, it's over my center versus high bar tends to be more quad dominant and more core taxing and back taxing than a low bar squat for me. So if I'm going for sheer total tonnage, I'm going to low bar, but we do especially like on overhead, we do high bar because when I dip and there's translation for the result desired. So maybe we can try a little bit of a lower bar position and see how that feels, and that might get you a little bit more range of motion without the folding.
What do you really mean by high and low bar? Like how, like
The bar-
high is resting up by your neck and
Yeah,
low
on top of
is,
your traps, and then there's like mid, and it's like on your traps, and then low bar is like bottom of your traps, top of your scapula. It kind of goes across the back, like high bar, mid, low bar.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next. A little bit forward. So we're high, Gabriel. So part of that I think is because you're coming forward. Uh, you see how those heels kind of get light at the bottom?
Yeah.
And then as you get deeper in the set, you get shallower and shallower, which is common. Um, I want you to, your first thing you do is you break at the knees and sit straight down. I want you to break at the hips, kick your hips back like this much, bit as you break at the knees. And what that'll do is put your ass slightly behind your heels, and it should help you from coming forward. And I want you to
Okay.
trust that your legs have the power to get you all the way down. Go a little bit deeper than you think you need to for now.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
go ahead.
I should go. I should go with my hips back when I start.
Yes, just a slight break at the hips so they slide back this far as you break at the knees, and that'll put your butt a little bit more over your heels because we want to keep you off your toes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will try.
Otherwise, from the waist up, everything looks great.
Okay. I will try. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next.
I think we can skip this one. It's the same from a different angle, same different set.
Pretty good. So a little bit of a soft lockout. Knees are soft, hips don't quite get all the way through. If
Yeah.
you look, you can see your shoulders are still in front of your center. That was a little better. But as you come through, you got to squeeze your hips or squeeze your butt and keep pushing the ground away. And
Okay.
you want to bring those hips through with a violence. You're
Yeah,
starting, looks like there's a lot of thinking going on.
yeah, maybe overthinking. I'm just trying to remember everything you said last time. So,
These are looking
It's right
good.
there. I kept it in the bag to make it easy.
These are
We
generally
can we can move it into something, but it's
that's cute. These are generally looking pretty good.
okay.
There's not a it's micro changes, not overhaul.
So what I got from what you said before was slam hips forwards, squeeze butt. That was what you said to somebody earlier today. Is it the same, essentially the same
Yes.
thing? Okay.
I want to see your shoulders over your hips. And those,
Shoulders over hips.
yeah, so we want our hips, our shoulders, hips, knees stacked at lockout. I don't need you to lean back with it. I need you stacked. And then your starting position, it's pretty good. You could get a little bit more into neutral. So that cue of pushing that, rotating that tailbone towards the sky and pushing that belly button toward the floor.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
It's not a whole lot. It's little changes. You're doing great.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. I saw you had a question on T-bar row.
Yeah, I did submit one and we can run it or not, but so my gym closed and now I'm on a new piece of equipment. And I found that the new piece of equipment doesn't have the brace for your front side, and you're just basically just rowing. And
So it's not
I just can't. I played with it. I just cannot. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to go backwards, sometimes forwards. So
We'll take the video so I can get a
okay.
good talking about. Next. Benoit's on the floor. Let's party.
Yes. So that's the deadlift where I lift, then I stop, and then I lift again.
Cluster. Yep.
Yep. And then after four reps, I started feeling dizzy, so I slowed down a bit. So you don't need to go until the end of the video, but
these are pretty good, Benoit. These are incredibly different from the last time you deadlifted off the floor. There are a couple really, really fine-tuned things.
yeah.
I think now we need to start playing with our hip height a little bit. Only reason being is you see how far past the bar your knees are?
Yeah.
So your hips are low, but your spine is pretty close to neutral. There's not much flexion going on, which is good. But I think you might get a little bit better leverage if you see how you get down to the bar and then you
start rounding or
hips. Look, you sit back and your hips drop. If we elevate your hips, you see how your hips kicked up right before you pulled? It was subtle and it was quick. I think that's going to be closer to where our starting position is. And this is a fine-tuned cue. So we've overhauled your deadlift, and now we're going to start polishing it. So we need to bring your hips up slightly, and that's going to take.
So I hold on to the bar, and then I push in my legs so that my hips goes up.
Yes, naturally, when our hips aren't where they want to be, so our leg drive starts. So your hips kicking up is your legs getting into position to where they can do their job naturally. So that's why I say that's where we're going to shoot to start for our hip position, is where your butt kicked up to. So it's very subtle and it happens fast. And it's usually one of the biggest learning curves when it comes to deadlift is hip position. People will play with it for a very long time. So this is this is normal deadlift learning per se. But it's because you were too far over the bar, so your hips kick back, your knees come out of the way, the bar breaks off the ground, and as your hips kick back, they kick up because you're loaded.
Okay.
So we need to start in that higher hip position slightly.
All right.
Can I ask a question regarding like the hip position there? Because I struggle with the same thing, but it feels like sometimes when you like raise the hip position, it feels like you lose the push in your legs and it becomes more of a strain on the back. Like, do you have any tips for how do you find the perfect
hips
point so you don't lose the leg drive?
So when your hips are too low, when you leg drive, you leg drive, but the bar doesn't move. So how do so my fist is my hips, and this is, so if I'm leg driving and my hips are doing this when I input and the bar doesn't move, then our hips are too low because our legs are pushing, and then our hips get into position where they can do their job, and then the bar breaks. If our hips are too high, we're just hinging. We're not getting enough leg drive. So it's somewhere in between those 2 points is where you live for hip height. And it's not the same for everyone. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum over the years, tweaking my deadlift, and I had a total deadlift rebuild about, I don't know, 5-6 years into this. Just because of I had to change my pull because of the nerve in my back, the nerve damage that I walk around with. So we had to kind of rethink and reapproach my pull. So we had to make me a little less hamstring and glute reliant, and we had to get more quad in it. So we narrowed my stance, we used my arm length, and we beefed up my core and my lower back. So that's where it's person to person. If you feel like you're just doing back, it means your hips are too high. If your hips are shooting up and you're rolling forward, it means your hips are too low. So, like I said, it's somewhere in that middle ground where leg drive and back work together.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. Next.
All right. Clean and press.
Good. Yeah, I mean that's got a lot of the right foundational. I love how you're flipping around underneath of it and it's not swinging out way in front of you.
I focus on that.
You're not training for any Olympic contests. So this is great to run with. You're in control. Look at that back position on the clean. You've got leg drive. You've got a lot of the good fundamentals at a very basic level. And I'm good with that. That's all I need you to be doing. I don't need you to be, making a run at the next Olympics with technique here. I need it simple and I need it effective, and that's what you're doing.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Perfect.
Good job. Next.
And that's the front squat I told you about the other day. Okay. It hurts a lot in the wrists. Jen told me to widen my hands, so I did, but I cannot find any place where it feels.
How many? You can even use 2 or 1 finger.
I use only 2, and then after maybe 2-3 reps, I lose the grip. They move forward, and then I have to cross my arms so that the bar doesn't drop.
So it's going to be a combination between wrist, tricep, and lat mobility.
Okay.
There are things you can do. I like sitting down with your palms, like if your palms are on the table and you sit back.
Yeah.
But you sit on the floor and do it. And then you just sit back into that. You'll feel a nice big stretch. The other one is you put a band on the rack about waist height and you grab it, wrap your hand in it so it's around your wrist. You turn around and you step forward so it pulls your elbow up by your ear. Now the
Okay.
key here is keeping that elbow in.
Yeah, to stretch the
And
triceps.
then you push up against it and then relax, and then you step forward and let it stretch. You come back, you push up against it, and you'll feel it like shake. It's
Mm-hmm.
a heavy band. And then you let it relax and you step forward and let it stretch some more and see how deep you can get that. And that's going to stretch that tricep and all that stuff out. Those are two big ones that I use when I have to reintroduce. Now I'm working axle push press, so I need that mobility. So that's something I do before my front squat sessions. I do before my push press sessions. Even now, even though I have the mobility, it also helps my wrist from feeling too beat up. So it's something that can be worked on, I promise, but it is always uncomfortable and sucks for everyone kind of new to this. There's just no way around it. And you got to do the homework and the mobility to expedite that process. I mean, if you're doing this regularly and you're throwing underneath the bar, it'll get there. It'll just be miserable for longer.
Do I need to keep the thumb as well under the bar, or?
No, I literally front squat like this.
Okay, only 2 fingers.
It's just like when your car parks on a hill and you put the chalk block underneath the wheel.
Not much.
No, okay. Like you've never put like a trailer and you put like I don't know what I have. So like if this is a wheel and we're on a hill and we usually stick something underneath the wheel so the trailer don't roll down the hill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is a chalk block. All it's got to do is keep it there. Your elbows and your upper back are what bear the weight and help drive that chalk block up into the wheel.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Yes. Cool.
All right. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Next. Hips kicked up just a little bit. So this is what I was talking about. You see, it's very subtle with him as well, Johan. If you Noah, can you go back to his first pull, please? Thank you. So it's most exaggerated typically on the first pull. Boom. You see those hips kick up slightly? So that was his hips getting into position so his legs could work properly and get the most amount of leg drive. So ideally, when we start, now luckily for him, he didn't have much forward pitch. It was very minimal because the rest of them, he was in good positioning. So typically, that could really throw someone off at a heavier pull like this. He was set up very well, so it didn't have much detriment. But as he gets heavier and heavier and effort goes up, say like on a 1 rep max, it will, and then it just won't move. Because now you're so far out of position. So, but packs in, hips kicked up, and he just kept pulling through it. Ideally, he just wants to start where his hips rise to. And then the leg drive into the bar is immediate. So Paul, that's really my only thing for you is let's work on, keeping those hips from shooting up. But I love your brace. The back looks strong and together, man. That's awesome. I also, if you notice, he's wrapping in over under. That's something you don't see a lot of due to when you do strap in double overhand. It kind of mitigates the bar roll. So if you are using straps, you don't need to go over under. It's not giving you anything advantageous at that point. he might just be more comfortable as an over under puller. So typically when I see people go over under with straps, it's because they're used to pulling without straps over under, and it's just a muscle memory, it feels right type of thing. And that is okay once you learn how to deadlift. So I have no issue with Paul doing it at this stage. Just I'm trying to get ahead of anyone overthinking or asking that question when it comes to straps. I do double overhand because of we use figure eights, we use all kinds of other stuff. Oh shit, he's got the dumbbell strapped on the outside of the bar. That's awesome.
I was going to point that out. I love the fact that he ran out of plate weight, but he found a way to improvise. Awesome.
Just because of the nature of my sport and having to be fast getting in and out of straps, potentially having multiple bars. So I don't want anybody overthinking that. If you're going to use straps and you're new to straps, always start double overhand. If you're someone who wants to learn deadlift without straps, you're gonna have two options. You're gonna have over under, or you're gonna have hook grip, which you literally hook your thumb in and grab it with your fingers. It's very painful when you first. You're gonna tear skin off. You might tear a nail off in the process. You see a lot of Olympic lifters do it because they have to snatch, clean, and jerk. It comes from Oli and sumo pullers. Over under is the way to go for most people. It's simpler, doesn't hurt. But yeah, next. I love that Robert does this.
Yeah, so last week, Nick, you said I need to drop my hips.
You want to get a little bit more leg drive. So we dropped a little bit too much. So your hip and knee angle's almost at a 90. So basically we want to end up between where you're at on the right, and you see how there's like virtually no leg drive on the left? You're basically just hinging off the floor.
Yeah.
So let's see how it looks from this position. So it wasn't that you dropped your hips, it's that you sat really far back.
Okay.
So if you watch, your shoulders get behind the bar. It wasn't so much that your hips rose, it was that when you went to leg drive, it pulled you back over the bar. Does that make sense? And you can really,
it does.
You can really see it here because your hip level didn't change all that much. It was your whole body shifted back. And then you input leg drive, and it was like, we need to get back to the bar and up.
Okay.
So dropping the hips versus sitting back can be mistaken for the same thing, and they not necessarily are. They sometimes one is needed more than the other. You need to come down. We don't need you to come back, because that is actually what caused that. You didn't really kick up, you rolled.
Okay.
So you got out behind the bar and you had to get back over your power. So
Did I make a little bit of progress at least from last week?
Yeah, your hip
Just a different mistake.
You had more leg drive for sure. And we're gonna see it here. You see how those knees and legs extended the whole way of the rep versus this one on the left? You hinge and then the legs lock out and the glutes come through.
Yeah, and I felt it in my legs way more this week than last week. So
here's going to be a very fine-tuned cue. So when we need to get our butt slightly lower, sometimes our knees need to bend slightly more. What that means is more, if this is my foot, this is my shin, we might need to go from this to this. Okay. So what that does is you had the bar set up the same as you did in your last one. So now you might need to have about a ½ inch of space between the bar and your shin. So when you set that deeper hip position, you have room for your shin to go to the bar. And then as you drive, you're not so far. Does that make sense? You can get lower
Yeah.
and your shoulders meet the bar where it's at, and then your shins are back in contact.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't have this problem when I deadlift with a trap bar, which is what I have always done. And as I'm transitioning, that's kind of what I'm figuring out. Like
Yeah,
my body
a
just
trap
doesn't know
bar,
where to be like
a
for
trap
this
bar
straight
is
bar.
a different animal because it gives you what this bar doesn't. It gives you the leverage advantage because you're pulling from center. The
Okay.
weight's not out in front of you. This is why conventional deadlift will always be king as far as posterior chain strength when it comes to deadlifting. You will
Okay.
always have a strong. There's a reason why you can deadlift for a decade on a conventional bar and then step into a trap bar and pull as long as you're squatting, and pull 100 pounds more, is because your posterior chain is so much stronger because this is less leverage advantageous for you than a trap bar.
Yeah. In the process of transitioning, I'm learning that kind of the hard way, as you can see from my videos. I was also wondering if, I don't know if Ketch is on the call, he's kind of gone through this transition from a trap bar to a straight bar. Does he have any advice or pointers?
As someone who's put him through the transition, I can tell you that just know it's going to be a process.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a major ego hit, and you just have to accept it. But I'm pretty happy Nick saw this week. I failed my PR, but we were kind of happy about it because my failure now looks the same as my successful lift, which means my technique is getting dialed, right, Nick?
Yes.
So long term, it will be a win. It was a major loss on Tuesday, but it looked really good. It was a very pretty fail.
It was a very pretty fail.
We may have failed your PR Catch, but you've been an inspiration to all of us and me especially. Like when you've made all your transitions, I followed you. Like when you started FUBAR, I started. When you started bulking, I started. When you started cutting, I started. When you started transitioning your deadlift, I started. I'm just following you, man, and miles behind you. So you didn't
You
fail in
look
that
pretty
sense.
close in these videos, so thanks for saying that. I hope I can keep inspiring you guys.
As long as I don't have to talk you out of testing your fucking deadlift every 6 weeks, Robert, which is an incredible also improvement on Ketch's behalf because he wanted to test every 2 weeks prior to all this. When we went for this test, I spent probably a week trying to talk him out of it and take a longer deload and test later in January. He was like, no. I was like, okay. But we did a lot of neural work when this, and it was a lot of clusters, a lot of things that really ingrained. I had to take an approach of when Ketch gets heavy weight on the bar, things go different because he's very neurotic in that sense. He gets hyped up. And when he gets in that stage, it almost works against him because he resorts to old habits versus going through the motions. His body knows how to do. So it's a tale as old as time. When you add pressure to a situation, fine motor skills deteriorate tenfold. So when we get too amplified, it's why I go into a heavy overhead press, not as amped as I go into something like stones. Because stones, I can just go full potato and ferrule the fuck out. Whereas overhead, I need to be precise. So learning how to train at different levels of arousal is part of learning. Like you have to learn how to test because your how you handle the pressure is going to be tested along with that, depending on the individual. Some people can just walk up, roll out of bed half asleep, and rip deadlifts off the ground. Some people need that high arousal level. It's person to person. Catch is someone, he's kind of got to have a happy median for things to go right. So he's collected when he goes into it. Because if Catch is collected and confident, he's a dangerous man. But if Catch is super aroused and he's all over the place, he might shoot himself in the foot. So this was a lot of neural work. So I was trying to, as his coach, I was trying to mitigate. Okay, even if on the off chance he does come in super aroused, we're gonna drill this so that I can mitigate the effect of being too in your head by muscle memory and those neural pathways, the things that feel automatic. So we arguably did more setups than he did deadlifts, because we had so many clusters with this training set. So that could be a thing you can do. Is what I had Benoit do is I had him. It's not really about him pulling the weight that I needed to focus on because I knew the strength is there. It's it's everything that happens before pulling the weight. So if you want on your deadlift work, you can break them down into clusters because we're trying to reprogram some things, right? Where you're transitioning from trap to conventional. So maybe we can, on our cluster work, maybe we can drop back on the weight slightly, just so you've never done clusters before, and you don't know what to expect. Every time, take about 3 to 5 seconds between each rep. Step back, reapproach, set up, pull. Step back, reapproach, set up, pull. So we're ingraining that first rep every single time. And you get the reps on your setup every single time. So that could be something we do to get you used to this new position that we're working on, because you've graduated from trap bar. You've learned how to deadlift safely and soundly. Now we're going to the right side here where we're having new problems because we're now trying to polish and refine and get you moving efficiently and effectively. And it's a crawl, walk, run.
Right. Yep. I'll take those cues into my head and try and figure out what to do with them. So yeah, I really appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next. At least these are pretty good. Not really a whole lot I want to change other than when you come down, it look like you drift away with the bar. Can we go back to the side angle? Noah, can you start it over? Thank you. You see the space between you and the bar right about here? How it's like a few inches away from you, it looks like. I want that bar right up against your body the whole way up. The whole way
Up at the top you're talking about, not at the bottom.
up. Kind of right here. That bar looks like it's this far away from you.
Yeah, I think it's bouncing off my stomach.
No. It's nowhere near your stomach. It's right here. Your knees
at the bottom. Okay, I got you.
Far away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what that means is you're out front, and we need to get that bar up against your body.
Okay.
The whole way. I wanted to drag up your pants.
All right. It's definitely dragging up my shins, but yeah, probably at the bottom.
So what that
I
means
see what
is
you're saying.
coming off your shins, your knees are kicking back, and then you're creating space versus holding that position there. Now it's away. So it's because you're kind of deadlifting. You see how the bar comes back at the top, right? There. There's like a 2-inch travel where when you lock out, the bar comes back. Your hips always go to the bar doesn't come to you.
Okay.
Keep it close.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're doing great.
So you think it's safe to go up in weight now? Like my form is acceptable enough to go up in weight?
Weight on that damn bar. Your position and everything is pretty good.
Okay.
No flexion. The bar's moving like it's empty. Throw some weight on the bar. Let's see what happens.
Okay. I still want to jack something.
Understandable.
It takes too long to recover now when you jack something.
Yes. Next.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. What is this? Just a picture holding the bar. Is Rory here?
Hi.
What's your question?
Okay, so the very last couple reps, the very last one, I should say, you see, I use my whole body to get up. So I'm always wondering at what point am I screwing myself with bad, like right there, like screwing myself with bad form because I'm losing the strength. At what point, I know like it's usually the last three that I tend to have the fatigue, which I thought that's my goal. So like that last one, did it just totally suck and not do anything for me?
I want to know why you think you're screwing yourself on tour.
Because I'm so obsessed with getting the form correct, and because I am already dealing with fatigue from my MS, I don't want to be wasting whatever energy I have on a poorly formed move. Does that make sense?
Yes. A little bit of leg drive on your last 2 reps to finish the rep means you're working hard. You got the effort right. You're not screwing yourself.
Okay.
That's why I was smiling when you started explaining this. I'm like, you are completely overthinking that. You using leg drive or not using leg drive on those last 2 reps where you're that close to failure isn't. Stop. You cut yourself some slack. That's totally fine. When we're talking, you've picked a good effort weight. It means it's right there on the cusp of being able to do the full set normally and needing a little bit of a leg drive to get it up. You hit failure. You're working hard. You're not screwing yourself.
Yeah, this is what we want to see from everyone. You're doing hard reps. You're doing hard reps at the end. A lot of people aren't doing hard reps where they have to change anything. Like this is what, when you hear Arnold talk about the old days finishing sets with forced reps,
yeah,
that's what he's talking about. Like, and you're not having to do the forced reps to the point where he and Franco would literally help each other with the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
You're doing them where your legs are kicking in to help you. So you're getting to the reps that make you grow.
Okay.
That's what we want everyone to be doing.
Okay.
You're getting within a rep or two of failure. That's the goal.
Okay. So then I have the understanding of the reps to failure, but there's that mental block still that I'm afraid I'm not doing it correctly. So, okay.
Yeah, well,
you're good. You're good. Let go of the mental block.
The only thing I would say on these is if you see how your elbows barely come back to neutral, when I mean like this, I'd rather see a nice big range of motion.
So really pushing up, but still making sure I'm coming.
Yeah, you're coming back down. Like your first couple reps were good. You had a nice full range of motion. I press my dumbbells from shoulder height. So when I do a strict dumbbell press, I'm here.
Oh.
Below parallel.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll definitely make that adjustment because I've only been trying to stay at the 90. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good job. Next. Mm-hmm. These are fantastic. Nothing I really want to throw at him from this angle. He had a very intentional setup, dropped his hips, pulled in his brace, got his hips in a position, pulled. So this looks like his hips are rising, but this is a very common technique you see in powerlifting and stuff where they sit down, pull in their tension, then get their hips up where they want them and then drive. But it looks like all one motion. But it's actually 3 different parts. They've just refined into what looks into being automatic. So Eric, great job. I love these. There's not too much I want to change, at least from this angle that's standing out to me. Give me something from the side. Foot width looks great. Everything looks very sound and together. Yeah, good job. Next. All right, Jeanette, what are we working with today?
Sorry, it was muted. Those are goblet squats. I'm
Yes,
still trying to work on
like a
them.
squat. This is great. You're getting there. We're getting you closer, and every single week. This is awesome. So the only other thing would be hold that dumbbell, try and keep it a little bit higher up by your chin. So where you're like this with the dumbbell. And I want you to think more sit with a little less fold.
All right.
But we're getting there. We're right there. You've made progress.
This is like my second week of maximum new strength, so I'm still newer to the program.
Yeah,
So.
2 weeks in, you're already making progress.
All right, cool.
Good job.
Thanks.
Next. All right.
That's really good.
Are these the high pulls that you asked about before?
Yeah.
Yes. These are good. I like how you see how your elbows kick back. Your first couple reps, your elbows stayed high. I want you to think about when you do a high pull, when you come up, I want you to think about pulling a string apart. So bit, and you don't pull this way, you pull up. So like if you notice, I'm kind of chin, you can't really see my chin, but I'm kind of chin height, chest height area. So if we can get you a little bit higher, then we'll be right on the money. But
okay,
those look good.
35-pound weights,
Yeah, you're moving weight, girl. Good work.
I like it.
Nancy's absolutely nailing these reverse lunges. Torso's vertical. Boom, deliberate step back. Easy money. Textbook reverse lunge right here. Great job. Next. You can give me next, Noah. Thank you. Yep. Good job. You can see when she comes up out of the hole, you can see those hips driving through. One little cue that might help, not that you're doing anything wrong. One little cue is you get closer because Carly had asked about potentially powerlifting, things like that. So in the world of powerlifting, when you're trying to go for that, top attempt, that third attempt, what I want you to keep in mind when you're coming out of the hole, just as to give you a little more juice into the bar, I want you to drive your back into the bar. Like actively drive your back into the bar. A lot of people, and it didn't click for me probably until a couple years squatting in that was like, oh yeah, I forgot the rest of my body's involved with this besides my legs. And it's just a physical like input where it really carried over is on like SSB that's trying to fold you forward. Driving your back into the bar, you'll notice as you come up out of the hole and you hit that halfway point, when you're driving, like if this is your hips right here and your hips are coming up and you're driving back into the bar, what that is doing is giving input to keep the bar over your center as your hips come through. So at about the halfway point, when you start implementing that cue, you might notice that when you hit that point, it accelerates much more violently. Just because you're like, oh yeah, I recruited more before where I was just having it hold the weight. So
is that almost like keeping your chest more up or like doing more of a chest drive? Like you keep saying a proud chest. Is that similar
no,
cueing
it's
or different?
Like,
okay.
Think you know what a good morning is?
Yes.
You know how that's all just driving your back into the bar and hinging?
Yeah. Okay.
It's like that, but without the hinge. You're actively like, get it off my back.
Okay.
So if you come as on a squat, we're kind of like a pair of scissors, right?
Yeah.
'Cause we have to get down to depth, especially if you're interested in doing something like powerlifting where there's a very strict depth standard. You have multiple judges judging that specifically. Um, Coming up out of that hole on a heavy weight, when you hit that, I don't know if you've felt it yet, but you'll hit a weight where you're coming up out of the hole and you are slowing down to the point where your rep goes from taking, say, a second and a half to where you're doing a squat and it takes like 5 seconds to come up out of the hole and it feels like an eternity. And you're sitting down there like, did I make the right decision? Did I make the wrong decision? It's that it's those reps where that input is you're going to be like, oh yeah, get it off my back because
Okay.
I'm going to try and fold you.
Okay.
When people fail a squat, it's typically when you hit bottom and then you come up and you start to get up into that halfway point. Somewhere in there, it's typically it either folds or they got to dump it off their back. And typically what gives is this. They fold at the core. So if we're driving into that, we're not just stabilizing with our core, we're now recruiting our mid and upper back into the lift in a conscious way. So you have the proud chest cue. That's just stabilizing and holding position. Now, when you're driving into the bar and you're doing it the same time you're pushing the floor away.
Okay.
Because your technique is so much more sound everywhere else that I don't need to necessarily change your technique. What we're going to do is try and give you cues to recruit more of your body to activate to get more tonnage on the bar.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, you're moving very well. Your squat looks fantastic. So we're going to try and give you a cue to give you it. I know it was a light bulb moment for me when I figured it out and it all made sense. You're just going to have to imagine, like, I always tell people if there's like a concrete slab on your back, like you're not just going to use your legs, you're going to try and get it off. Like you're going to drive into the bar with that upper back.
And so like in this video, it would be you start that cue when you're like
coming out of the hole.
Just coming out of it? Like you almost start it like immediately?
Like when your legs start driving, you're driving into the bar.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Kick the shoes off. Love it. I think he was the one with the question. Yes. Okay. All right. So James had posted in the thing. I submitted deadlift video. Jen had asked me to raise the floor, which is why he has it on 20 kilo plates. Just wondering if Nikolai or Jen could advise if I need to stay on it for a while or go down to 15 kilo or 10 kilo plates. James, are you happen to be on the Zoom call? It'd be real convenient. And I could ask questions. So I have no context for the coaching conversation, or why Jen gave that cue, but I have to imagine that it has to do with body position, especially lumbar and hips. So everything looks pretty sound here. I think that you could probably drop down to a 10 kilo, a thinner plate, and see how that feels for a week. And if your position maintains, go to the floor. If it feels new, it feels foreign, keep it there for a few weeks. Get the reps in. Make it look just like this looked. And then you can drop down to the floor. But it's looking good here, man. Shoulders right over into the bar. Good leg drive. Hips come through. James, I want you to violently bring your hips to that bar. Squeeze your butt as hard as you can and try and snap the bar in half with your hips. Because this weight, the speed looks really good, which means we should be violent at the lockout. We're always trying to accelerate because gravity's going to win every single time. We got to set the weight down at some point. So when we're moving that bar, we want acceleration. Speed kills. Next. Good. Packed his lats. I like that. Shoulders are stacked on his back. And you could see the cue. Salman, the only other thing, get your feet underneath you, man. It's still a bench press. Get your whole body into it. Squeeze your butt. Have your feet screwed into the floor. But I loved, if you want to start it over real quick, Noah. Right when he sets up before he presses, he did something fantastic. Right here. Pow. Look at that. He locked those shoulders back and down onto his back. So his shoulders aren't flopping all around. That's how you protect your shoulders in a bench press. Well done. Love that. Next. Chest supported row. These look good, man. I got nothing for you here. These are great. Next. Good squeeze at the top. Nice job. Nice flat back. He's got a big reach, big range of motion, rolling it back towards his belly button. Great job. He's got great dumbbell movements, man. He you look good. Next. Lat pullovers, I'm guessing. Yes. Hips are stable. He's got good reach. The elbows aren't swinging the kettlebell. Great job, man. Man, this guy's easy. Next. Ryan Tomlin, Mustache Wonder. Here we go. These are the quarter pin squats, I think.
Yep.
Drive those knees out, Ryan. As you descend, drive them out over your pinky toes. And then drive them even harder on the way up so we avoid that collapse.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything else it looks like you went heavy for these.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, so that's good. When you go heavy like that, some things surface out or come to the surface. So when you descend, think about pulling the floor apart with your feet. And as you do that, drive your knees out towards your pinky toes the entire time. And as you hit bottom, you're going to fire them out even harder as you come up.
Okay.
One thing you can do for active feedback is you can put like a light like hip circle or something around your knees in your warm-ups and actively drive out against it. And you'll feel your glutes light up. Because typically when this happens, it's either an adductor or glute issue. Not issue, weakness. And it's How far over your normal squat is this?
See, this is 315 right now. I'm repping my squats at 225-ish.
Okay, so you're almost 100 pounds normal to your rep work. So yeah, you're gonna get some things come out that you wouldn't normally get because they're strong enough there. So that's completely normal. So what you can do for beef up adductor, and it's something that I have to do, and it's something I also hate doing, is like a Copenhagen plank, things like that. Warming up with crab walks with, or like, I don't mean on your hands and feet. I mean where you go down into a half squat position and you walk sideways, pulling your knees apart with a band around them, to really wake those glutes up. Static holds in that position where you lay like banded iso clams, where you put you know what a iso clam is, where you lay on your side, open your knees.
I think so. Yeah, I can Google it.
Yeah, look up banded iso clam. That can help, but you went much heavier than your body's used to, so we're seeing a little bit of things come to the surface, and this is what strength training looks like, folks, is when we get to these weights and these little tiny things come out, you attack them, and then you get them strong, and then you'll do it again, and then something else will come out and you attack it, you'll get them strong, and it is just a forever revolving door. I don't want to sugarcoat it and make it seem like, oh man, I should be lifting perfect all the time now. This is what strength training looks like. It's weakness, attack, new weakness, attack, new weakness, attack. Oh man, this was a weakness 5 years ago, but everything else is beefed up and now it's lagging again. Attack it. It's just a revolving door of that. So great job, Ryan.
All right, thanks. Glad I finally went heavy enough for you to pick something out.
Yeah, I told you things come out when you get heavy. Nice. Packed his lats. Hips kicked up slightly, but it wasn't crazy.
Yeah, I've got goofy long arms, so I feel like I tip forward, and that's where I'm trying to figure out where my hips should go to equate for that.
Well, long arms are good on the deadlift because we should be able to get a lower hip position and our chest higher and utilize that arm length. I'd like to see your width because sometimes people can be a little bit too wide, and widening that makes our arms go out wider, which means we lose some of that arm leverage, that arm length leverage. It
Okay.
doesn't look like you're wide.
Yeah, they're like basically touching my legs. But yeah, I guess my feet are wider. I try
Yeah.
kind of what you did in the master class. I try to like jump before I get onto the bar just to sort of see where my foot position would be if I was to jump.
Yep. These overall don't look bad. It's just a matter of figuring out your hip position. Your second rep, that was good. Your hips didn't really move.
Yeah.
That
I
looked,
think I feel it and then try to reset.
yeah, you might what I gave earlier about the cluster. Step away from the bar, reset. So every rep's like a first rep and you really drive it home. Yeah, give that a shot. Try and work in some clusters on your warm-ups at the very least, and focus on that setup, because you have, like, your first rep was the worst one, and then after that you're like, okay, we know what we're doing, and then it was less on the second rep, and then by the third one your hips didn't shoot up.
Right on.
So like your body was like adjusting, which is good to see. Your body was adjusting as your reps progressed.
Yeah, there's so many cues I try to go through. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot that one. Let's get to that one. Oh wait, I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Let's do that one. Yeah.
Yeah, work in some clusters and try and mimic a couple of those reps. Film them, watch them, and let me see it from the front one time as well next week.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Next.
I think next might be straight leg. Nope, this is squat. Yeah, I'm trying to put. I think one of the things you said was to bring my chin back. So I from that's a problem. That's a jujitsu problem because you always look where you're going. So I always am trying to like look where I'm bringing the weight. So you'll see in the, I think it's this one where like the third rep I remember. I'm like,
Boom, there it is. Yep. Good job. Yeah, these look good. You're not really getting heel heavy. I don't see your weight shift really past the middle of your foot. Oh, you got a little out of your groove on that one. But that's okay. That happens.
And I ended up, I think it was the next set. I felt my feet were dancing, so I took my shoes off and tried doing barefoot to see if, because I've got the whatever the Metcons. I thought they were lifting shoes when I got them, but yeah, I heard you say they're really more of a cross trainer. So I went barefoot to see if that kept my feet from dancing.
Yeah, they're not the worst option out there. I know a lot of guys who love Metcons, especially in the strongman world. They are pretty hard sold because they're a cross trainer. But I always like to see people start it flat and then go from there and eliminate, some people might like flat. Some people, you've got world-class squatters that squat in chucks. You've got world-class squatters that squat in lifters. So like it is very much a preference as long as the sole is hard and firm.
Mm-hmm.
No sponge. Good job, man.
All right. Thank you. This next one might be straight leg.
You can use the chin cue, like protect your neck. Like if someone's got the rear.
Yeah. Suck it in. Yeah.
Yep. You just don't need the frame. Set your back. I love it. Those are good. That was even better. You really reached back with your butt there.
Yeah, that was exactly. I did the same. I was like, oh, push the door closed, push the door closed.
Those are fantastic. And you can see where that mobility from jiu-jitsu is carrying over. I had to stop rolling like my third year in the sport because my mobility necessity changed. And like I was getting arm barred at like neutral. Like I don't have the mobility to not get hurt rolling around just for fun anymore.
Yep, I hear you.
So that's good. Your mobility is fantastic. Well done, man. Good job.
Should I try to go up on a platform at all to get a little more kind of depth, or would that be a bad idea? What's that?
Add more weight.
More weight. Okay, yeah.
Remember, these aren't mobility exercises.
Yep.
The limiting factor is normally mobility. These are strength exercises. It's an assistance movement to the deadlift. So when you're like, okay, this is too easy, add more weight.
Got you. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Seated clean and press. So, Jan, we want to make these a little bit, these are good. Your technique's good. It looks super easy for you. So we want to add a little bit more weight, and we don't want the weight to go around in a circle. We want you to come up and catch it. So we want to keep it close, and you like flip, and then you press. So we want to use that vertical explosiveness and generate momentum via explosion versus we generate momentum from the explosiveness and the acceleration versus the swing. And what I want to avoid is you coming around and catching. I want you to come up and get under. So it's just going to literally flip up onto your shoulder using that acceleration. But your press looks great. You got the right idea. We just need to fine tune it a little bit. Good job. Next.
Me.
Cable crunches, I'm gonna guess. Yeah. So I'd get a little bit closer and get it kind of a little bit closer to your head so you're not out here and having to actually pull. So you can get that really big squeeze down at the bottom. You've like 90% got the right idea. I just think we can get a little bit more if you have that rope actually closer. So when you elongate, it's like it's attached to your head. So your upper back's tight, fixed, and then you're just pulling it down with that midsection. You can get a little bit more out of that squeeze at the bottom. Next. These are really good. If you notice, one thing I want to point out to everyone is that he moves his head around the bar and not the bar around his head. And when he finishes the rep, it's like over the back of his head or like the crown. Because if you look at lockout, that bar is directly over his hips. Now, Johan, the only thing is when we're strict pressing, we don't need to come down to here. Here. We want to keep it right about at your shoulders because when you come down to the bottom, your elbows come back and then you've got to drive it up and then you're back into the press. So if we finish right here where we're biomechanically supported in a strict press, for me, it's about chin, mouth height, give or take. Somewhere in here, we don't need to come all the way down to say our chest. You've got great mobility. My shoulders would dislocate if I came all the way down there with 300 pounds. But you've got everything else looking absolutely beautiful in this press. We just need to get our rack position a little bit higher. That's all.
Okay,
Good job.
just a question on that one. Like my left shoulder has a little like the mobility is not perfect. I feel it both in like when you do chest presses and also this. Like any tips? Is that also like if you shorten the movement, might it be better? Or?
On the left side at any point in your life?
What?
Did you have an injury to the left shoulder at any point?
No, I don't think so. I basically just like my whole left side. I have a little leg length difference. My left leg is a little bit longer, so it like the whole left side is a bit like messy all the time.
Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the culprit is the left side just a little weaker. So it does some wonky things. I know like say when I do like single arm dumbbell bench presses, I know I when I'm using the same weight on my right side, I got 10 reps. On my left side, that 10th rep, I'm kind of getting my body into it and doing something weird, and I might feel it a little bit more in my shoulder. It could be something as similar as that. It could be correlated to that leg length. But I would just be cognizant. I think if you don't come as low down with the bar, I think that might make a difference because we're now loading the joint once we come down here versus being biomechanically supported here. So try unracking and keeping it here, keeping that chest proud and pressing and see how that feels. Keep your chest pushed out in the rack position.
Yep.
All right. Let me know that.
Thank you.
We'll go from there.
Yep. Thanks.
Yes, sir. 1 rep max. Let's see it. Beautiful. I don't believe that's a 1 rep. I think you got more than 10, big fella.
I might, but it depends what type of day I have. I think I tried 20 more pounds the other day on the retest, and it's like that wasn't happening. But It's there
It'd
some
be
days.
like that.
What's
That's
that?
normal. It
Yeah,
it
yeah.
be like that sometimes.
I'm not upset. The last time we talked about this about 3 months ago, and you may not have said oof, but it felt like oof. It was a very curved spine coming
Yeah,
up.
that was beautiful.
Yeah. So, well,
Yeah, that
just
was
rebuild it.
fantastic. The
Yeah.
fact that my reaction was that doesn't look like a one rep is a good place to be. That's like the holy grail. Pulling a one rep max with more in the tank, those don't come very often. So enjoy that.
I will. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well done. Next. We have another guy that submitted a one rep max on a as well. Squat PR.
She's terrible on the warm-ups too. I end up having to my body weight squat is a dog weight squat.
My dog's literally dropped a ball underneath my foot as I was walking out of the squat. Talk about your life flashing before your eyes. Yeah. I mean, you held the same pace the whole way up, and that's you came out of the hole at the same rate at which you kind of finished, which is hard to do. Typically out of the hole it'll be slow accelerate. Once you get near lockout, but that means you're very well rounded and in a good position. You're strong all the way through. There was no real weak point. You could have gotten a hair deeper.
Yeah.
But that's really it. All I got for you on you. I mean, a hair deeper. You're flirting with parallel right there. Like that was pretty much a full range of motion. That's a valid PR. I mean, good job.
Thanks.
How much was that, Matt?
That was 315.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've entered the next bracket of weights.
I had to go to the weight store for the deadlift and then had to step back, which brings me to the a question with the deadlift. I guess how much curvature do you, I guess, tolerate, especially really low lumbar, kind of around the pelvis?
It depends. On a one rep max, way more than building and rep work and volume. I try not to tolerate any or minimal on my really hard sets. So if we're talking 9 out of 10 effort, I expect some curvature because that we hit that true max effort, form's gonna break down. 9 out of 10 effort with a realm of perfection is kind of a different scale. But when it comes for just a full tilt, full out send, if something breaks down and you stand up with it, I really don't give a shit. If that's the goal, like I am going flat out, I'm pulling on this thing till it comes up off the floor, then I know where you're at and I'm gonna be like, okay, let's party. Like contest, my deadlift looks uglier than it ever does in training, but it's full send mode. And I know my back can support it because I haven't beat my back up in that manner for weeks and weeks and weeks. So if you have perfect bulletproofing that lower back and you have that, light to moderate to more than moderate curvature, you'll be fine.
Okay. So you don't live there, but when you're sending it, it's like, okay.
Yeah, when you're sending it, the rules don't change. The fuck it, the rules change. Like it's a one rep max. I'm not looking for perfect. I'm looking for you to set a PR. But I'm looking for you to get all your cues right to set the PR. So like catches, I needed his to be perfect on setup. Because if he gets that wrong, the likelihood of him getting the pull wrong increases. And your setup looked perfect. You had very, very minimal flexion, and it went your way.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well done. Your overall movement patterns have come a long way. Incredibly. Yeah, these are good. Pull him with his back, finish him with his arms. Added some weight. Strong pull up. Nice. Next. Dumbbell row. We're going a little too far back. I'd like to see you kind of. I put the dumbbells more in front of me so I can have that row to the belly button versus pulling them behind me, kind of like you're skiing, and keeping that chest proud. I'd slow them down, give them more centric, keep that chest pushed out, and be violent on the concentric, the actual row. But that's really it. One thing you can do as like a marker, I've done it, is I'll find like a rack or a wall space and I'll bend over like I'm doing a good morning and I'll put my head against it to get my position right, like my forehead or the top of my head. And then I'll row from that position. So like I've got a physical feedback of where my body is in space. Next. You just look like an idiot doing it. You just got to accept those terms. A little less of the hinging at the elbows. Pick an angle, typically like somewhere between no more than 45, don't need to be straight. Pick an angle where it's comfortable all the way in extension and your elbows are fixed. So there's no throwing going on. It's just all lats pulling without getting momentum from your tricep. But you've got great range of motion. You might even need to elevate the bench a little bit. It seems like you've got long arms. Next. This looks like a high pull. Let's see. Yes. So this is like a strict high pull, where there's no leg drive or anything or hinging pattern. And that's a variation of a high pull. And he's doing them very good. Those elbows are staying high. He's not rotating back or anything. He's squeezing. Jimmy, well done. That's a pretty good textbook, like strict high pull. Nice job. Next. RDLs. Good. It looks like the back's staying pretty straight. It's hard to see from this angle, but I don't see him rounding at any point from here. And he's going to where his range of motion ends. He's got some knee bend, a little bit of leg drive, which is what an RDL is. Michael, great job. Okay, sweet. Side view. I want a little bit more reaching with your butt back behind you. Like there's a door. What's the cue catch? There's a door trying to push shut.
You're trying to close the door behind you with your butt.
Yeah, it's
sorry, bottom. My kids are around right now.
They can't say butt?
No, Nick. They're 3 years old and 1.5.
Okay. We had very different upbringings. I think I heard everything under the sun by 5.
And look at you now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we want more reaching with the butt out behind you. I want you to really pay attention to how it pulls into your hamstrings. So you did this kind of little bend before, and then it put you in a little bit of flexion. So no bend. I want your knees to bend slightly as you push that butt back behind you. What you're doing well is you do have the hips sliding back and forth. That is good. We just want to make it more. But overall, you're doing great. Just need to Polish it a little bit. Next. Stiff leg deadlifts. Likely will be a very similar cue. Yes. So your stiff leg and your RDL are very similar, which is not uncommon because they are very similar by nature. Way more butt reach here. Way more, slightly less knee bend. Way more butt reach. An SDL is a good morning, but where you're holding the bar in your hands and not on your back, pretty much is the best way I can nutshell it. It's all hinge. Next. Nice. That was great. Didn't fold at all. I mean, position stayed locked in.
This is a 1 rep max. There's more there for sure.
That's really freaking pretty. So this is the one. This is the gentleman that I believe asked the question. Matthew Rikers. Yep. He said 1 rep max test. I think I was under tension the whole time, but coming out of the hole, it felt like a struggle spot. Hard to explain, but legs felt almost deflated. Any cues or tips to lock this in? Yeah, get stronger coming out of the hole. You have a weak point. That's normal. And that's also one of the most common spots is coming out of the hole's hard because you're changing direction. Pin squats, I'd take very seriously if that's something you want to correct. Pin squats at depth.
That's why in the Maximize Your Strength program, you're going to have the low pin squats starting in phase 1 because everybody has trouble getting out of the hole. Probably the most common weakness, right, Nick?
1000%.
So if you want to do Maximize Your Strength now that you've done your test, will definitely help at that part of the lift. But this looks way prettier than my 1 rep maxes.
Yeah. Typically pauses down in the hole or pin squats or what are the common remedies to that? Nice job. Next.
Thank you.
All right, the T-bar row she mentioned before. Oh, we have the road version of this.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, you want to get your feet a little bit closer. But yeah, it's just a basically a free weight row machine. You just want to bring your feet a little bit closer. But that's a similar means to the same end. That's a valid option, 1000%.
With this, it was like I was at 25 pounds, but before with the other machine, I was like plus 50, and I was like, oh no. So
it's because you were this far away from the weight.
Yeah. Okay.
Step closer, and obviously there's a limit on how close you can get to that, and it's on the plane. So yes, it's gonna feel a little bit different. But it's not that you got weaker.
Okay. All right. I'll keep playing with it. Thanks.
Damn, good job. This look good. I like the width. I like how his hips are traveling right between his heels. Those look good, man. I would ask for a side view, but I can see the walls on either side of your squat rack, so I know that's not going to be possible. Good job, man. Those look From that angle, those look great. Next. Oh shit, that's it. All right, questions, Q&As. What do we got? Hit me. Elise, go ahead.
So I'm trying to figure out buying straps. And when I looked at what's available, there's hooks, there's figure eights, there's straps. So for someone at my level, what is appropriate? And then I have a follow-up question.
Regular straps, just the long ones you wrap around the bar. That's gonna be get comfortable with those. Learn to use those. Figure eights, you don't really need. They tie you to the bar. Whereas a normal strap, when you let go, it lets go for the most part.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then just to ask biomechanically, what's happening when you add the straps? Am I now putting the weight against my wrist joint, or it's more to the forearm, or what should I feel?
It's anchored. It's not necessarily on the joint. What's happening is it's all it's doing is it's mitigating how the bar can rotate in your hand. So naturally, a bar wants to spin. So double overhand, it wants to spin one direction. Over under mitigates that. Straps, basically, as long as you're putting pressure on the strap, the bar can't rotate at all.
Okay. So it's more about rotation, less about having to. I mean, I'm still going to be gripping as hard on the bar.
Yes, the weight's not solely going to be on your wrist because you're still going to be holding onto the bar. You have to. So it's just about mitigating that rotation in the bar.
Okay.
Is their primary role. Yeah.
Okay. And you think it'll help with my hand pain?
Potentially, it could, yeah.
Potentially.
It's something, it's a trial and error thing. Give it a shot.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. Gabriel.
Hello. So I have two questions, if I may. First one, as I'm new to the gym, during breaks, I'm usually looking at the labels on the empty machines, what they do. And as I was doing seated calf raises, I noticed there's a machine for standing calf raises where the weight is on your shoulders. And I looked in the app from seated calf raises, I can swap to body weight calf raises, to single leg, and to donkey calf raises. And I'm not sure if I can use this machine single leg, or I should use it like with two legs and use either the body weight and just lock the weight, or is it the donkey calf raise machine? I don't know.
Single leg on any of those variations. Typically with a seated calf raise, it goes across your knee and the weight is distributed through a frame of some sort. So it'll still load that single leg with all the weight. Whatever's underneath of it moving it is getting that weight.
Okay.
So you'll just have to mitigate the difference between doing in weight with double or single. You can do single leg with any of those variations. If you've got to a point where the machine and the weight you can put on it's too light, single leg or adding tempo with double leg is a good way to do that.
Okay, thank you. And the second, so today I had this issue as well already before. I was finishing my session with a superset of lat pullovers and then lying triceps extensions. So the pullovers were okay because I'm using two hands, so generally it's fine. I can use a slightly higher weight. With the triceps extensions, I started with the 5 kilo dumbbells. I could do like 17 or 18 reps out of 20, so I thought, okay, good weight. Second set, I could do only 15. So third set, I lowered it to 4 kilos. But even by lowering it, it wasn't enough because I was exhausted. So I could manage 10 or 11. Then I actually put it on my chest. I shook out one hand, shook out the other hand, and I continued like every time, like 2-3 reps until I got to the suggested reps. So my question is whether if I'm in this situation, should I do larger drops if I'm exhausted, or is this small pause and shaking out of the hands okay as well?
Man, that was fed with a fire hose. So to nutshell the issue is basically you're hitting exhaustion and the weight, even dropping weight, you're still not hitting the target rep range.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So one way to skin that chicken is you can start with a lighter weight on the first set,
Okay.
knowing that you're going to run into that exhaustion. Two, another way to do it, typically it's programmed, is rest pause. So like you said, stop for 10 seconds, shake, blah, 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 finish. I think with the goal, which program is it?
It's the foundation, the regular one.
With the foundation, I would go with, because we still want that effort really high, I would go with the rest pause and get what you can get and chip away at that last set. Because eventually you'll need less and less rest pauses.
Yeah.
So I'd rather that effort stay high and you're pushing that weight and that effort on that movement, and then you won't need it come towards the end, say 4 weeks from now, you might not need a rest pause on that last set, or you can start heavier, but it means that you're hitting on the first set. You're going for broke. And I love that, because some people err on the side of caution, then they don't hit that till, say, the last set. But there's nothing wrong with the way you're doing it. Just add in like a 5-10 second rest pause, chip away at five more, 5 second rest pause, chip away at a couple more, bang them out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
There's nothing wrong with grinding.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ray, go ahead.
Hey, so after the last couple months of going through kind of physical health and surgery and getting back to the gym, too hard, too heavy, I think, after surgery, and then the vertigo and all that. So now I took a little extra time off and just said, let my body rest and to where I feel strong. So next Monday, I plan to restart the Arnold throwback. I'm going to do it as a 5-day, not a 6-day. And the only concern I have, I think every exercise I feel I'm strong enough and good enough for, but I do have a little bit of an imbalance that hits me every once in a while. Not really a vertigo, not really a dizziness, just imbalance. So the only exercise I'm concerned about really is a heavy back squat.
Okay.
So I'm going to attempt it. I'm going to try to work my way up to it. But if it feels uncomfortable, what is the best? And I know they have replacement exercises in the app, but as far as hitting the same muscle group and hitting it with the same volume without the balance being an issue, what's the best route to go?
So to eliminate balance being issue in back squat plane of movement, it's going to be what's called a Hatfield squat.
Okay.
So a Hatfield squat is, say do you have like an SSB or access to one?
What's an SSB?
One with the handles here. It like comes around.
It basically, yeah, just there's a Smith machine and there's kind of an old style rack, but I don't have adjustable heights for the pulleys.
So okay, so no SSB, no safety squat bar. Okay, so a Hatfield squat is a squat variation where you have something to hold on to in front of you. You'll see guys go really, really heavy on this variation because in a way, it was meant for basically some sort of mobility restriction, things like that, kind of PT format. But strength athletes have used it to kind of overload, get them used to that, their nervous system used to like heavier weight because they have some arm and stability assistance in the Hatfield squat. The other
Maybe I was thinking wrong. Maybe we might have it. There's one where it sits on your back, but you got just handles in front of you. Okay, is that what you're talking? Okay.
Yeah,
So
does it kind of have like a
here.
camber on the end?
It's basically just like a regular straight bar, but it has the handles that come out front.
Yeah, so that's a version of the squat bar. So you can try
Okay.
that with Hatfields on days where your balance is bad.
Okay.
Because then because of those handles in front of you, it will likely stay on your shoulder without you holding it.
Okay.
So then you can run
You're
pins
just steadying it.
and use the pins for handles. And the cool thing about it is you can do it so it's like a belt squat where you sit way back if you want like more quad dominance. But in your case, the issue is balance and stability on days where it's not good. So it can be a substitute to get squats in on days where you don't trust your balance. And you can apply as much help with the arms on stability as needed. You can have them just resting, or if you're confident, you can hold on to the bar here on the way up. You can adjust how much input for extra stability help with your hands is completely up to you.
Gives you a little bit of variety. Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Sir. Johan.
Yeah, I had a question regarding the wrists when you do bench presses, because I realized like kind of when I was doing bench presses, my wrist, I lay them like this naturally, and then I realized when I was going heavier, I got some pain on it. So I was just wondering like what should you strive for regarding the wrists when you do
Where
bench
do you hold the
presses?
bar in your hands?
Well, I guess in like the middle, like somewhere around here.
Want it in the meat so it's over your forearm. So our input to power, yeah, our wrist will be cocked back a little bit, but it should be right in here. The other thing you can do is get wrist wraps and crank them down at the base of your palm so they actually come across. You wrap at the base of your palm, not down on below the joint. You want the middle of the wrap to be over the joint, and it will give you some support on those heavier bench presses if your bar placement is still correct.
But should you like strive for being more up if you
so when
can,
I
or
bench press, I don't recommend it. I do what's called a false grip. So I'm actually benching here. There is risk to that, but it comes from I don't bench press and power. I do strongman. There's no bench press, so it's normally an assistance movement. But because I typically when I'm pressing, I use an axle because it's just what we use in strongman, and it's a 2-inch thick bar. So I'm not benching like this, whereas a barbell you're like this. So axles we false grip almost all the time. So you can try just holding it in a false grip and seeing how it feels. And then once you get that bar in, like with an empty bar, once you get it over that meat of your palm, take your thumbs and put them back around and hold there. Because a false grip, you won't be able to go too far into your fingers because it just won't stay there. And if you go too far past the center, it'll want to get away from you. So if you set up with a false grip and then put your thumbs around, it should put you at the center.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Ryan, go ahead.
All right, so question, I guess, about muscle growth and progress. Feels like the last few workouts, like a month maybe, I've had a lot of progress on my squats and my deadlift. Is that my muscles going through a growth spurt, or is that more of me just being more efficient when I lift?
It could be a combination. Your muscles don't really go through a growth spurt, unless you're like in puberty. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, you're well beyond that.
Oh yes.
So
far,
it likely is.
There, and of course, time they had to get her big butt in there. But
Hey, mute your phone. It likely is probably your body getting more efficient with all the coaching and the reps and you being conscious of how you're inputting. You're at a combination of getting stronger and moving better. So what I always tell people, I call them beginner gains. So like, how long have you been lifting?
It's probably been about a year and a half.
So yes. So you're still in the beginner gains. And the beauty of this is a year and a half, most people are still way far off of being optimal. And that's why I love doing these is because I like being able to give you guys a head start and get you guys moving better sooner. So like you get to the strength sooner. So beginner gains are motor skills. And it's why it's boom, more weight, PR, PR, PR. It's what I was I actually had this exact conversation with Ketch is why he was getting 30, 50, 60, 70 pound deadlift PRs is because he wasn't really learning strength. He was getting stronger alongside, but the movement pattern, your movement pattern was doing this and your strength's doing this. So you're learning how to move. You've heard the term muscle memory. Your muscles don't store memory. What it is a neural pathway. Anytime we learn a new motor skill, whether it's cutting paper or deadlifting, you're creating a neural pathway. So you have to create that and make that better and better and better. So the constant refining of a movement and improving it, your leverages, your movement pattern, those really fast early gains, and you guys are likely getting them faster than you normally would here. And I'm not saying that just to brag on the Pump Club, but you got most people in their first year, they're not even thinking about coaching. So they're just going in, they're looking at a bigger guy trying to move like him. That's what I did. And then they're trying to do that. So yeah, they get stronger, but when you have the ability to target the inefficiencies and polish that, yeah, you're going to go because and then you'll get to a point where the next PR or the weight seems like a grind to add on. Now it means we're getting to the end of those beginner gains, those movement patterns. Not that those can't continually progress, but now strength is the main focus. And that's where your PRs go from 30, 50, 60 pounds to 20, 15, 10, 5. It's like Olympic lifters. Let's look at one of the most intensive bar path focused, technique focused strength sports. These guys at an Olympic level, the highest level for their sport, will literally train for a year to put on a kilo or two onto a lift because it is that micro fine tuning, because of the bar path has to be straight. There can't be any deviances. It has to be straight. It has to land. It has to go point A to point B in a straight line because they're relying on speed. You can't press out in Olympic lifting. It has to jerk. So it has to pow. So their jerk has to be on point, whether they're squat jerking or split jerking. Their clean has to be on point. There can't be any deviance for the speed to taper off and the power because it could end in a no lift. So that's technique at its highest level. Now, we're trying to ingrain that, what I was talking about with Benoit and his clean and presses, why I wasn't as hyper fixated on those as I was his deadlift. So reason being is the clean and press is a new movement. He's not training for Olympic lifting. I need him to be efficient and safe enough at a basic fundamental level to clean and press without needing any sort of hand holding or injuring himself. And the way he's moving is confident, it's good, it's safe. His body is biomechanically, in a nutshell, where it needs to be to do it in a safe manner and in a realm of correct. So when it comes to your squat, your deadlift, your bench, your overhead, that's where we're going to fine tune. Those are big compound movements. Everyone's here to get stronger, get in better shape, feel better, move better, not get hurt. So we are spending so much time fine tuning them. If you'll notice, like how I coach you, it's much more, it tends to be pickier because you move well. So you naturally took to this very well. Some people don't, some people do. So we didn't need a big overhaul. And sometimes one lift clicks faster than the others. Some people that's bench, some people that's squat, some people that's deadlift. That's normal. So as you progress, you're going to notice that gain taper off. And it's not because you're getting worse, you're getting weaker, you're getting older. It's because your movement pattern is optimized to the point where it's all fine-tuned stuff. And now strength is the main driver. And that just takes longer. If that makes sense.
Nope, that does. And let's be honest, it may be some of me getting older, things slowing down. So I'm okay with that. I get it. It happens.
Yep. I mean, long term, yes. But in a year to be progressing like that, that's you're a fast learner. You're learning where you're taking to it very like fish to water. So you're going to hit a point where you're not adding on 5 pounds every week, 10 pounds every 2 weeks, or whatever rate you're doing it now. And be like, man, it feels like I'm grinding to put, progressively overload. Sometimes getting 5 pounds might take 3 weeks on a rep range. It's just the nature of strength training. The longer you do it, the harder the gains get, no matter if you're 35 or 55.
All right, cool. Thanks, Nic.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Questions before we wrap this up? Going once, going
Nic,
twice.
I had a question doing drop sets.
Mm-hmm.
Just transitioning from the app where you're looking at like doing 3 sets of 10 or 8 or 6 or whatever. And then you're doing drop sets and you're just starting at the heaviest weight. And then, so if it says 3 sets of 10, are you doing thinking just like 30 total and just do it the heaviest down to the lowest?
So is the drop set programmed?
Yes.
Yeah. So if it's 3 sets of 10, does it give you a rest duration?
Well, during the drop, there's only a rest after you finish each set.
All of it.
All of it.
So yeah, so your rest would be the time it takes you to drop weight. And then get back to the next set, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your rest is as long as it takes to grab the next set of dumbbells.
Yeah, that's usually how they work. So you're going to basically, that first set is going to be heavy and it's going to be a grind. And then
Right.
you're going to drop weight, immediately get to the next weight and hit out another set of 10. Now you're pre-fatigued off that previous set. So it's going to be lighter and it's going to be hard. So you're basically 10 rep maxing your way down with pre-fatigue, if that makes sense. And each set's going to be lighter.
Right. So if I'm 10 repping and I fail at 8 and I've got my dumbbells set up or however it's, I just move to the next one and then do 12, I guess.
No, just move to the next one and do 10. Don't add to it. If you failed early, you picked a weight a little too heavy, but that's not going to kill you. It's just going to make the next set harder. But you don't want to make it even harder by trying to go above the rep target.
I see.
Don't hyperfixate. Yes, follow the prescribed reps. Don't hyperfixate and miss that. A lot of this is what you're putting in is a lot of it has to do with effort. So adding those 2 reps doesn't mean you're gonna, if you don't add 2 reps because you got 8, doesn't mean you're gonna miss out on any potential gain. It means you just overshot that second set. Progress to the next set.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Are you working on a strongman program?
I'm working on well, I've got to go in and refine some of it. We've got to do movement index. But it's called Workhorse. It's a strength focused work capacity program. It's kind of how I learned to train for strongman because you're trained for several events. So here's what the big misconception about strongman programming. The only thing that makes a program strongman is if you're doing strongman implements.
Okay.
It's simple. You can run a 5-3-1 and make it strongman. Is it ideal? No, because 5-3-1 is very linear. It doesn't have a work capacity aspect to it, but you can fluctuate. You can take a 5-3-1 and throw in assistance and structure the assistance so it's like work capacity for strongman. You can make any program a strongman program. Workhorse is very much an advanced level program. So there's going to be a wide variety. What makes it advanced is a general knowledge over a broad spectrum of movements. I mean, there's Turkish get-ups. There's it's percentage based, so you have to know where you're at strength wise, roundabout where your 1 rep maxes are, and some of these sets. So it's all a giant set format. So what that means is it'll be movement, 90-second rest again. So example, it'll be like 6 squats at 70%, 10 medicine ball slams, 30 30-second plank, 90 seconds rest, start again. And then it'll be like 3 reps or 4 reps at 4 reps at 80%. Then the medicine ball slams, then the 30-second plank, 90 seconds rest. Then will be as many reps as possible at 90%. Goal of at least 2 reps for a minimum. And then you'll finish your thing. And then your compound movement, your giant set work is done for the compound movements. Then it goes into the assistance. Sometimes I've got mindset challenges in there. I've got conditioning in there with carries, odd object things like that, depending on, it'll be what you have access to. So it's very much will be a new way of training for a lot of people, but I won amateur nationals training like this. I took the power building program that I use for amateur nationals and kind of restructured it a little bit to make it make sense for this app, which I kind of got to do again after our little R&D group, which I need to sit down with Catch and confirm what movements and things. But yeah, it's something you can use for strongman. It's something you can use for powerlifting. It's something you can use if you want a challenge. If you want to,
yeah, I describe it as, don't you think, it's really an athlete program? Like I just told Tex, who's trying to get ready for some rugby thing, just run workhorse again, because it's in a sport like rugby or any sport, athleticism comes from force, but workhorse is building your strength, which produces force, but it's also building your ability to use force when your heart rate is sky high and you're sweating through your clothes. Because at the end of those giant sets Nick's talking about, where you're doing an 80% deadlift supersetted with a core exercise, supersetted with a jump or something, and then you're resting 90 seconds and you're doing 90%, your heart rate goes really high when you're not used to it. So it's building your work capacity at the same time it's building your strength. And when he talks about mindset, just to warn everyone, it's things like a 3.5-minute Moby song that says green Sally up, green Sally down over and over. And you have to squat down every time it says green Sally down and up every time it says up. It's like probably 100 squats in 3 minutes with 50% body weight. So the mindset days are not very fun.
Those are my favorite.
But we should have that up in the app at some point early next year. We have to make some changes to the app because of the percentage bases, and we're trying to work with the dev team to see if we can actually use people's 1-rep max tests to automatically import their percentages, or if we're going to need to add some new labels in the app to show people percentages and effort levels. So there's a lot of work to be done, but we'll get it up next year for you guys, early next year.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Hey, Nick, I got a quick question for you. I've been working with a sports PT with some shoulder tendonitis issues for about a year now, trying to get them resolved. And he's suggested I ask you all this question because I got him to take a look at the app, and he thinks I need to take a month and just do nothing but lower body and give my shoulder a rest. Don't ask me why. It's his suggestion because I'm a caveman, right? I'm just going to go in and work through the pain. So with that in
Listen
mind,
to the PT.
Yeah, is there a program that would kind of fit that strategy? Would like, I'm finishing up pump now.
I don't agree with that strategy at all.
Like, I don't either. So I'm with you, Nick. But I've tried everything else he said, and it's gotten better. Then I get stupid and I tweak it again, and the next thing I know, I'm back to crying like I'm whining at him. He's like, "You're an idiot. Take a month, do nothing but lower body. stretch, do these exercises. Let's get it to resolve, continue to do this stuff, and then add them back in. And
let me clarify before I tell you to find a different PT. When he says that, is he saying we're not doing anything shoulder?
No, he wants me to. So he actually specializes in shoulder issues in college and professional athletes, right? That's his thing.
This is why context is very important.
Yep.
So
Sorry, I should have better explained that.
Follow a PT program for your upper body, and then do a lower body focus program with the pump.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there a program you'd recommend?
So there are two ways to look at this. It's going to be a little bit of a pain. My PT actually had me do the same thing last year. So it's going to be a little bit of a pain. We've talked to the PTs we trust, and we wanted to build an injury mode where basically you say what's hurt and it drops the exercises. Every PT we trust says that's a really stupid, dangerous idea because it gives people false confidence and people will use it without an in-person assessment. And we can't possibly know what's down the line from their injury or up the line or up the chain. So they've told us to just tell people to skip what they can't do, which is what we do and what my PT had me do. So there are two ways to look at it, and it just depends on how much work you want to do. What I did was I just did the advanced foundation, the OG one that's full body in the first phase, because then every day I just left the upper body work blank and I did the lower body work, completed the workout, ignored the you have exercises incomplete, and just clicked yes, I still want to complete it. That allowed me to not really have to screw around that much besides skipping through the upper body work in that program. So that's one way. The other way is you could, if you love the upper lower splits, you could do one of them and just on your rest day or on your PT day, just take a minute and skip through the entire upper body workout, leaving it all blank, so that the next day when you're ready for your lower body workout, you just do that. So either way, you're going to be leaving exercises blank. It's just a question of which program do you love the most, and are you going to leave a couple exercises every workout blank, or just skip through a full workout on your rest day or your PT day, knowing you're leaving that blank, but you'll come back and do it again because we repeat programs when your PT clears you. So those are the two ways to handle it.
Copy that. Perfect. That helps. I'll take a look at foundation. I've ran it a few times before. I've run through pump the last 2 or 3. So let me go take a look at that again. That might be the right. That might help me with my OCD about skipping workout days.
Don't worry about skipping workout days, because I tell people this all the time in customer service. We're not an app that tells people you need a new program every 3 months or you're failing. Like Arnold has literally done 4 programs since he was 15 years old. That's basically the average of the most pump members that they're doing in 1 year. He's done in like 60 some years. So the idea that you need, we're telling people, no, it's actually good to repeat. So that's why every time I've had an injury and I've had to skip shit, I don't care, because I know I'm doing it again. So next time I'll hopefully be cleared and do the whole thing.
Perfect. Nope, that makes sense. I'll go back to foundation. That was what I was thinking anyway. So just wanted some professional advice, and appreciate you guys taking time after the holiday.
If you really want to smash your lower body, do the foundation upper lower split and just skip through those upper days on the days you take the time to do that, because that lower body workout at the advanced level is brutal.
All right. Sounds like a good look. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to abuse myself. So
that just had your exact scenario. So
yeah. Like one way or another, I get this shoulder fixed so I can actually go back to bench pressing more than 50-pound dumbbells at a time. Because right now I'm tired of looking at them, and we hate each other. So it's time to listen to him and actually take his advice. So appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thank you. All right, everybody.
Yep. I guess that's it. I I hope everyone has a great New Year's. And
You'll probably see them before New Year's, Nick.
oh, yeah, I don't even know what today is. So
It's the 26th, so you'll see them next week, I'm guessing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Sounds
so
good,
much.
guys. Later.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.